and start the call because I know that you had a question you wanted to ask me. Since you were asking about today's call, let me unmute you. How are you today? Let's see. Let's try to get. There we go. I can hear you now.
Okay. I'm good. How are you?
I am good. I'm extremely tired.
Me too.
Yeah, this week, so my vacation starts on Friday, officially, my husband takes the break on Friday, and then I also take the break too, but since this past weekend, my mind has been like, nope, we're starting vacation early, so I'm just like, oh, okay, so anyway.
I hear you. I was up to 1:30 in the morning, accidentally knitting. I'm like, oh my God, is that the time?
Yeah, totally relate to that. Alrighty, so what questions do you have for me today, if you have any?
Well, I actually want to make sure I didn't miss it again.
It's all right, no problem. So today is going to be the last call that I'll be doing for the year, and then in January I'll be starting up again because Christmas holiday season. I'm just like, nope, I'm gonna be.
Good. Do you know when in January, so I can just throw up my calendar?
Let's see. Let me take a look at my calendar here. Hello there, Ivoni. Okay, so today is the 20th. Is it today the 20th? Well, okay, so nothing on the 27th. So I guess we'll be back on let's say the 10th, because the 3rd, I've got people coming into town, and it's just going to be really crazy all over the place. So
nope, that's good.
So we'll go with the 10th. And during that first week, I'm going to try and get get that Google Calendar thing working again, so people be able to know when the calls are and stuff like that. That's just not working for me. Let's see. Hello there, everybody. Do you have any questions for me today? Let me double check the Google Docs as well. But if you do have any questions for me, just let me know. Yeah, this is definitely the time of year that I'm just like, I'm so tired.
I think brain dead is going around.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard of Trello?
Yes, I have, but I haven't really used it that much. Okay, I see a question on here, but I answer yours. Well, I guess my answer for you is no. Yes, I've heard of Trello. No, I've never really used it. So I heard it's really good for project management. Okay, you're in the office. Okay, awesome. Okay. The one that I used before was called Asana for project management, but I ended up not really using that much either. I just kind of list things out as we go. So
what do you use for project management?
Just my planner.
Just your planner? Okay.
Yeah, and Sarah following me around telling me, hey, you remember this?
I don't have a Sarah. I've got two cats.
Exactly. Yeah,
they won't do it.
Yeah, but I do. Are you in the? Okay, no, keep on Google Docs. Not everyone is that takes that. Okay, awesome. Yeah, thanks. Yeah. Are you in the Fireboss Collective group? Because I noticed there's a discussion about Trello going on in there.
Yeah,
so
there was a really nice discussion of how people are using it.
Yeah, there are a lot.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. You go. Sorry.
I was listening to last week's call just before you started this one.
Mm-hmm.
It sounded like could help Nin out a lot, and myself as well, because I am having problems with what to do first. Even though I know what to do first, I need to work on getting patterns before I do newsletters and all that other stuff, but still the worry keeps creeping in. And
yeah, it's just more about knowing what step of the project you are for, especially when you're trying to manage multiple projects. And I think that's the most difficult thing, because once you have the pattern of your sample knit up, that gives you extra, now that frees up the time for you to start working on your next pattern, stuff like that. But it's just making sure everything is, going through the, what's it called? The pipeline, and making sure that you're able to keep track of multiple things going on at once. That's definitely one thing I've really had to learn when I'm creating my quarterly issues, because I've definitely got multiple projects going on right now, and being on time and on top of deadlines and stuff like that has been really important. So.
How long did it take you to get your sea legs underneath you so that you could manage all these projects that you had going on?
Are you talking about the quarterly, or just in general, with the patterns and stuff?
Just in general. With the patterns, I not the quarterly muse, but with your patterns, just to feel comfortable with the process, that you knew what it was and
I would say
what
about
had
it
to
took.
come next?
So again, because once I started like designing full time, it was a full time thing. Don't have any kids, so I was able to focus on my time. So it took me about like 6 months to get the hang of it. Like once I got like at least like 6 to 7 patterns released. Of course, I think maybe for some people it might won't take as long. That was just for me, like just during that, because during that first year, I was still also learning how to knit. Because me learning how to knit and design happened at the same time. So it was, there was that thing for me as well. Yeah, so it's just just learning the process and going through those steps, just repeating that over and over. It's usually the most difficult step in the process, I think, is but at least for me, coming up with a design, like thinking, okay, I've got this design done and now I need to start working on my next one. Let me just... Okay, sorry, my husband. I had to make sure it was all safe. So coming up with the design, and then the second part was getting the pattern written up. It's not as hard, but usually like the actual, okay, what can I create next? That's usually takes the most time for me. So that was like my thing I had to get over, just learning how to come up with the next design relatively quickly, just to make sure I had something coming out for the next month and stuff like that. Yeah, so just varies from person to person. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to quickly switch over to the Google Docs because I did see a question that did pop up there. Who was it? Who is this from? Let me see. I think it's from Steph. She says, I am most of the way through the test knitting process for my first pattern. It's going well. Do you have any advice for the next step? How to coordinate the testers posting pattern pages on the release date? How to best have a pattern page filled out before it can be published? I made a Ravelry group for test knitting. You can tell I'm tired. And while it certainly worked, I got most of my testers from Instagram and Facebook. It just seems most don't really hang out on Ravelry, and I don't get their air burns often. Okay, so for the next step, how to coordinate the testers posting pattern pages on the release date. For me, what I did for that when I was still on Ravelry, doing my test knits, I would just basically send them an air burn and just like, hey, today's the pattern release date. Could you please post your pattern page? Link your pattern page to the project, and then I'll send you the final copy of the pattern. Usually that's more enough incentive to get them to do that. Let's see, how best to have a pattern page filled out before it can be published. Usually Ravelry kind of has like a little checklist for you to follow through. Like it tells you it has all the information filled out on each page. Like if it tells you like you forgot to put in your price, or you forgot to fill out the notes, or you're missing the photos. Usually tells you that. I mean, obviously, get everything out there as much as possible. The most important, I think, maybe for filling out a pattern page might be the notes section. You'll want to have, the pattern romance, the pattern about the pattern, like, the yarn, the needles, the gauge, the measurements, and things like that. And maybe also a note about how if the pattern has both written and charted instructions, if the pattern's been tested and tech edited, also just like answering a few frequently asked questions on that page as well. Because usually one of the most frequently asked questions I get about my patterns that I sometimes forget to put on my pattern page is this pattern include written and charted instructions? And it's just really easy to forget that important information there. But that's usually like one of those things that prevent people from buying your patterns. Like, oh, I only like written instructions, so they just want to know if it includes both those options for them. And let's see, I made a Ravelry group for testing. While it certainly worked, I get most of my testers from Instagram or Facebook, and it seems most don't really hang out on Ravelry and don't get their air burns often. So it seems that you're bringing people from Instagram or Facebook into your Ravelry group instead of just finding people immediately on Ravelry to find testers. That's how I found mine too. So I really wouldn't worry too much about that. It's just more about a place to have to host your test and getting information and feedback on there for that. So yeah, hopefully. And so Steph, if you have any follow-up questions for that, just let me know. Alrighty. Okay, do you have any other questions for me today, Brenda or Ivone? And Ivone, you can type your question into the chat box if you want to. Ooh, yes.
I have one Stitch Mastery question.
Yes.
I know I can go in because I did it and change the descriptor for the key because I had to come up with my own stitch.
Yeah.
I used one that looked similar to what my new stitch was going to be. Is there a way to get the text to also reflect that when it writes out the directions?
Oh, to have it automatically update?
Yeah, feed right into the text. I couldn't figure out how to do that, and I had to remember to do it when I directions in Word.
Yeah, I think there is a way. I just do it manually myself because it's like I love Stitch Mastery, but it's not the most intuitive program. Let me see. We didn't get around to this, but I feel like I have a video I can share with you. Let me find it. I'm going into my Dropbox to find this link here. Because it was a video that Babs made for the Stitch Mastery Challenge that we're still trying to get up and working. It's just been so busy, but she did send me a few videos, and I'm going to take a look at that, and I can post that into the Facebook group for you guys if you want.
Okay.
Just for, or send it to you too. If I can find it, sharing. So once I find that, I will, if I can find it, I'll send it over. Otherwise, I just do it manually. Or let's see, you could ask the question in the Facebook group and tag Babs, Amanda. Those are the two people who really know the ins and out of Stitch Mastery. Or you could contact Kathy Scott or go to the Facebook the Raver group. She's really helpful for answering questions like that. But
okay,
yeah, for me, I just write it out.
It was just a simple pattern, so it was easy enough to do that. But if I can save time and not worry about, did I remember to do that after I've released the pattern?
Yeah.
It'd be nice.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? If not, I'll let you guys go and get this uploaded into YouTube. Okay. Let's see, I got a new episode of the Yarn Alchemist series coming out this week. I need to do a quick update because I'm going to be giving away a planner. I bought myself a planner. I bought an extra one. I was like, oh, I'll just give this one away. Okay. Alrighty, looks like we're good for today. So I will see you next year, January 10th. Hope everybody has a great and safe holiday season. I'm excited because I'm going to Disneyland next week for Christmas, which is exciting. And so hopefully get some, I have one design left for the Dreamer issue left, and the yarn for it didn't come in on time for the photo shoot that happened yesterday, so I'll have to do a follow-up photo shoot next month, which is fun. Alrighty, thank you so much, everyone. I hope everybody has a good and restful, happy holidays. Alrighty, guys. See you next year. Bye.